Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the late one with myself, yours truly. I want to thank you for coming on. Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for those coming on YouTube. Thanks for those coming on Facebook. Monday, the 11th of March, 2019. It's a lovely day. Nothing major happening except the typical. And the typical is Brexit, which is just one of them, if anything. And there's much more at the same time. Today was or deemed to be Commonwealth Day. That is something which I will have to maybe pick up on another day to speak about that Commonwealth and the relevance of the Commonwealth, i.e. when it comes on even to the Windrush. That is something people talk about. That is something someone even mentioned to me. That is maybe something to look at a later topic, if anything. But today, without a doubt, what I want to do is spend about 30 minutes just looking at where we're at with Brexit. It is good to make sure that we are not sidestepped by all the different issues which are happening. Many different things are happening, the whole distractions, Michael Jackson, R. Kelly, and all those sort of things, which really and truly don't really, what should I say, somewhat is a distraction to a certain extent. I call it distraction. Good for sus, good for gossip, good for things like that, but really and truly, I consider it to be gossip. But there's another key news item which has been very disturbing for a lot of people, and it's regarding this Ethiopian Airlines which crashed and 157 people on board. Yeah. It shows in a way how, what should I say, how precious life is, and how you can be here one day and gone the next day. 157 people, plane en route from Addis Ababa to Kenyan capital Nairobi when it crashed 6 minutes after takeoff, killing all 157 people on board. Right. The good thing is that they have now recovered the black box from the crash site, the recorder and digital flight data recorder to find out what really happening. But I heard a story today. I think I read it, if anything, and the story was that there was a gentleman who was supposed to get on that plane, and he pushed and tried to get on the plane, and he watched when the last person went on the plane, to his dismay. And I believe they said he was consoled after. He was consoled after when they wouldn't let him go back on the flight because the plane for the route that he was going was terminated, being to the fact that this accident took place. As I said, it crashed 6 minutes after takeoff. 6 minutes after takeoff. So what this means is that, and it's just like September 11th, that mean many stories about persons who missed the whole tragedy by maybe being late or whatever like that. And that is why let's say our condolences to the persons, but at the same time, when it is your time, it is your time. I know it's maybe sad to say that, really, but anyway, we hope that they fix this plane and they sort out, well, the different planes which actually, you know, the type of plane like this, because I believe in 2018 something of a similar nature took place, right? The 737 MAX 8 aircraft has only been in commercial use since 2017. That's just a couple of years ago, right? Well, we just got some breaking news a while ago that the Prime Minister's got some legally binding um, agreement to the withdrawal plan. Okay, so the second thing is Commonwealth Day. Now, many people didn't know that today was Commonwealth Day. 11th of March 2019, people in the Commonwealth countries in Africa, Asia, the Caribbean, Americas will observe Commonwealth Day, which is today. They celebrate with a broad range of activities, including faith and civic gathering, debates, school assemblies, flag raising ceremonies, street parties, cultural events, multicultural faith service at Westminster Abbey. Really and truly, have you heard anything? Has anyone heard anything like that? So only saw it on the news. Um, so there are things sometimes which comes at you and come in your face, and there are things that you got to search for. And I believe with the Commonwealth and the Commonwealth Day 2019, unless one is attuned to certain things, it don't come at you. And I believe a lot of people have been somewhat dismayed by the workings of the Commonwealth, because there's been a very silent voice to the whole Windrush saga, even though it is within the whole ambit of the within the Foreign and Commonwealth Office, if anything. But it's been very quiet. I did some forum some years ago at the House of Commons, and I believe Dominic Grieve was there, and he talked about the relevance of the Commonwealth. So that is something else which one have to pick up some other day. 70th anniversary of the formation of the Commonwealth, and what's the relevance of the Commonwealth. That is something we'll have to pick up certain day. But for today, for the purpose of today, the topic that I really want to talk about is Brexit. Okay? Brexit. And while I'm talking, I just saw some breaking news just came in. But welcome to the show again, and thank you for coming on. And the topic which I have today is a Prime Minister is off to Brussels, and the withdrawal vote is tomorrow to leave the EU on 29th of March 2019. But is Parliament ready? I think one of the questions is Parliament ready for this? Because tomorrow there is going to be this day of debate. But isn't it difficult to have a debate when you haven't had actually the opportunity to read the papers? You haven't had the opportunity to sort of look at the withdrawal agreement which the Prime Minister will be coming back from Brussels with. She's gone to Brussels on the last minute. But of course, we know when there's a deal or when anyone is actually negotiating deals, sometimes you got last minute arrangement. Hey, Ava, how are you doing? All the way from Jamaica, welcome. There's a last minute deal which sometimes take place. But what Parliament is actually saying now is what is really going on, because guess what? We are supposed to be debating this tomorrow in the House of Commons, and today we do not know what it is. Corbyn is saying, hey, this is the same thing which we had the other day. Nothing has changed. But let me see. I just saw something breaking that just came through, and I can find it here. A breaking news just flashed up on my screen a while ago. Let me see if I can find it. Breaking. Legal binding changes to the EU deal. The Prime Minister has secured, hooray, legal binding changes to a Brexit deal a day ahead of MPs voting according to the Cabinet Office Minister. David Liddington told the Commons the changes strengthen and improve the withdrawal agreement that will see the UK leave the EU, as well as its future relationship with the bloc. That just came in breaking a while ago. I was getting down there because the Prime Minister dashed away and they were saying, where was she? She was in the House of Commons today. But there's something that's coming. What does that mean? We don't know yet because it's all developing and it's developing as it is, right? And the last the last what should I say, the last vote which took place recently, lost by over 200 votes, and you know, as a result of that, they said get back to the drawing board. Many people are saying Parliament has wasted time over the years, over the 2 years, 2016. 2016 was a vote. 2016, yeah, 2016. I think June the 23rd, if I'm not mistaken. And so far, there's nothing. So the question sometimes is, has Parliament failed? Has Parliament failed the people? Has Parliament failed the country? Is the Prime Minister being stitched up as a scapegoat? Because at the end of the day, what you have different pundits. Some want, what should I say, a new referendum, a people's vote, and some argue that we had the people's vote, and many people are saying those who want the people's vote are those who do not want Brexit. They want it to change. And therefore, one is actually saying that the Parliament has not really accepted the whole scope and the relevance of the vote, the democratic principle of what it is. Democracy at work. So, so today, Theresa May dashed across the borders, dashed across into the EU as a result because there's no Brexit yet, arrived in Strasbourg for last-ditch talks with senior EU officials aimed at winning MPs backing for a Brexit deal, meeting Commission President Jean-Claude Juncker on the eve of the second vote, right? And on what she's saying, the EU has said it is now up to the MPs, right, to decide the next step for Brexit, and it remains committed to agreeing a deal. Yeah, but as we said earlier, Jeremy Corbyn is blowing hot steam, saying that there had not been a single change to the agreement since it was easily heavily defeated by MPs in January, and it still is a bad deal, and it was a bad deal. Well, maybe the breaking news which just came in may have changed the game, right? Speculation that the vote could be postponed or downgraded. Number 10 said the motion to be debated will be published later on Monday, although it gave no details of what would happen. Are we interested in Brexit still? Is it something which is people are excited about? People are just fed up with it. People are just get it going. Many people are saying if it goes back to the poll, there's two things going on. People just get fed up and just say, let's just stay. Some people get fed up and say, let's just leave based on how the EU has been and how they have been treating the Prime Minister with a level of disrespect. So there are many different ways or different thinking behind it. Downing Street said the PNP focus, the PM's focus, did I say PNP? There's an election in Jamaica coming up very soon between the PNP and the JLP. Anyway, PM focus was getting on. I think I may have to do a talk on that because I noticed that election there in Jamaica is very personal. It's getting very bitter between individuals, and sometimes when you got this bitterness between individuals, policies tend to push one side. But I hope that the policies will take the rightful place, and that the bickering and the belittling of um, um, parliamentary candidates do not take precedent and do not be overshadowing factor. It's very important for people to get to understand and to listen to the issues. If you agree with me, say amen. Getting on with the work required to allow MPs to support the deal and to bring the stage of the process to end. Members of Parliament, these are persons who are elected by the people, to be their voice, to be their spokesperson, to be their eyes and their ears in Parliament. They are there in order to be your voice, right? And sometimes when people say, let's give it back to the people, but at the same time, the people elected these individuals. But sometimes these individuals, based on maybe their personal interests, somewhat as they're sidetracked by other personal interests, if anything, right? But anyway, we're hoping that the MPs take their rightful place. Mistress May, that says, greeted on arrival by both Mr. Duncan, the EU chief Brexit negotiator Michael Barnier, and Brexit Secretary Stephen Barclay were expected to give a statement. It is now thought that the Cabinet Minister David Lidington will take up the vote. The UK, ladies and gentlemen, is due to leave on the EU on the 29th of March. That is 2 weeks from now, few days after my birthday, maybe my good birthday gift. Anyone who know and listen to me know that I'm a staunch advocate of Brexit, believing that it is an opportunity, and it's an opportunity because where there's uncharted waters, it brings forth uncharted territories. And when you got uncharted territories, what can happen from uncharted territories? You have also uncharted opportunities. And I believe it is something which is crucial. I believe it is something that one should not actually, um, you know, push aside amidst all the other things which are happening. These all the things which are happening are so important. The whole issue with the knife crime and with the youths and all those sort of things, that is so crucial. That is so important. But this is something which is also happening, which is crucial. It's a part of the political process. It's a part of leadership. And that's one of the things which I always encourage persons to get involved in the political process, right? Whereby one can be at the table. It is deemed at times that the Brexit is somewhat being overshadowed, where it overshadowed everything, and people just getting fed up and said everything just about Brexit, 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 right? And nothing else is happening. But ladies and gentlemen, I believe that um, when it comes on to the democratic vote and democratic happenings, it is best for that to actually happen and for it to go through. So right now, what is happening is that the vote is tomorrow, the 20 for the which for the withdrawal agreement. There's going to be this debate in the House of Commons, and this debate based on the New Deal. Many people are saying it's no new deal, but based on the press release that just came out a while ago, the Prime Minister has secured some serious changes to the Brexit deal, and as a result of that, it is hope it is hope that persons will get an opportunity to actually read the deal and able to debate it effectively. Because at the last time, many people were just, well, the good thing is that they saw it some days before, but at the last time, many people were actually saying, I'm not going to support the deal without even reading the deal, right? And what is the EU saying? The EU is saying is that EU leaders have been told about a package of options being considered by Mistress May and Mr. Juncker in their meeting later. And that includes joint interpretive statements setting out each side intention that the backstop would be temporary. The backstop is one of the key things. Ladies and gentlemen, many people have been talking, what about this backstop? This is the border between Northern Ireland and Ireland, whereby they always have this free reign before of travel. One major country. I mean, ladies and gentlemen, if you know that the UK has been very good at splitting up countries, Iran, Iraq, India, Pakistan, Northern Ireland, Ireland, and all those sort of things, splitting up. That's one of the heritage. That's one of the whole aspect of the history of the UK. So the backstop is something which is crucial, where they don't want this hard border, but it is something which is the niggling, triggering issue, which is making persons a bit very uncomfortable. Amendments to the political declaration around ambitions for the free trade agreement. Clarification of the procedures foreseen in the withdrawal agreement for disputes relating again to the backstop. Separate UK statement with British qualification and clarification. That is what is. So where are we now? And I just wanted to, because I've been talking about the Brexit before the vote in 2016 on my show. Every guest that came on my show that is on the red chair, I asked him the question at the end of the show, in or out, right? And every person saying in and out, some give their reason. I never forget one person saying they want to stay in because they want to be able to shop freely. Now, that's a reason. Many people say they want to be out. Many people have to give their different reasons, and it's also important, and so that was good. And then we did a show to that effect. So from 2016, I've been keeping the eye on the Brexit. So what do we know? On Tuesday, as I said, MPs will pass their verdict on the Prime Minister Theresa May's plan to take Britain out of the European Union on the 29th of March, right? 29th of March is Brexit Day, right? That's the day to leave. Many people believe it may not happen. Some believe it may happen. Some people say, let's just get it on. Or some people are saying, listen, we can't bother with this anymore. When will the vote be held? The vote will be held on Tuesday evening, that is tomorrow evening, after a full day of debate. And they say they won't know the exact time until the government announces it. Now, as I said before, MPs are complaining, they are grumbling now, and they are saying, we don't know what to debate because we have not seen this deal. That's very unfortunate. So therefore, they're going to be debating something and maybe a raft of documents without seeing, and many people say that's unfair. If it's like if I go to court and you have a particular application to make, and that application, while that application was made before, and you go to court for that particular case, um, the matter may not go forward if the parties are not served and have adequate time to prepare themselves. And therefore, if they are not prepared, then in order for fairness, then they will have to have the matter adjourned to come back at another time where the parties are adequately prepared. Um, Slightly similar in here, maybe not the same thing, but of course, MPs also need to be adequately prepared in order to debate effectively, or you'll be debating in blindness. So, so what they say, what are the MPs voting on tomorrow? They are passing judgment on the deal Theresa May spent 2 years negotiating with the European Union. Now, when you hear the word 2 years, now many people are saying you guys lack the ability, lack the credibility, lack the gravitas to secure something from 2 years. You know, 2 years negotiating. Jon Snow today on BBC on Channel 4 was saying 2 years, you guys. You guys are being paid, that is members of parliament. You're being paid to do this particular piece of work, and yet you cannot come up with it. You know, the question is, what should we do with you? Should we sack you? You know? And I said, why is the vote important? And I said, this is a big one. If MPs vote the deal down, one of two things is likely to happen, ladies and gentlemen. UK will either leave the EU on the 29th of March without a withdrawal agreement, or the departure date will be delayed. Some are seeking for an extension of the, and when people ask for the extension, many people are saying this is just another reason to delay the work process. It's just another reason to because at the end of the day, I believe personally that David Cameron should have triggered Article 50 right away after the whole thing, but he hopped out and he ran away, right? I believe he should have stayed in. If they back the deal, the UK will leave the EU on 29th of March, but things will stay broadly the same until December 2020, with the two sides trash out a permanent trade deal. So this is really like setting the stage. This is not like the final deal. This is setting the stage, right? And they said, haven't MPs already rejected May exit plan? Yes, that was rejected, right? So what has changed? They said, we don't know yet. Government ministers are trying to persuade the European Union to make changes to the deal to make it more acceptable to the MPs who voted against it in January. But honestly speaking, personally speaking, MPs are voting alongside the party line, or according to their personal thinking, because those who want to remain, I believe nothing will change their mind, right? And those who want to stay, doesn't matter what the deal, they just want to leave. Unfortunately, I should qualify that statement right there, because there are those who want to leave, but they want a good deal. They don't want to leave and still remain in Europe by default. So some are saying that the deal somewhat has shortcomings, but we don't know what will happen now with the new changes. It has a shortcomings whereby, yes, you leave the EU, you leave the European Union, and said you leave the European Union, but in real terms and in real and legally, you're still a part of it. And the worst thing is to be a part of an organization or part of a structure where you do not have a voice. So some are arguing, saying it is better to be in there where you have a voice, where you sit in public at the table, or to be out there and still be in there but do not have a voice, and they can kick you around. Okay, and that's one of the reasons I say from early days that this is an opportunity whereby different nations come to the table, whereby you still will have that trade with the 26 countries in the EU. Still, it's not gone anywhere. We're still geographically in the EU, and as well, you can have your cake and eat it, whereby you can trade with the USA, trade with Australia, trade with Canada, trade with Africa, and if the Caribbean get their themselves together, you can also trade with the CARICOM bloc, right? Now the question is, what happens if MPs reject the deal again? Do we go back in the cycle? Where does it stop? As many expect, MPs vote down the deal, and if they vote it down on Tuesday, then MPs have been promised a vote on whether the UK should leave without a deal or not, and that is likely to take place on Wednesday. So therefore, what some MPs have been putting on the table, and I believe, I forget the MP, I put a motion once to see if they can take the no deal off the table, right? The no deal off the table, and I think they lost on it. Or I don't. I think they were successful, but it is not somewhat binding, right? To say there must be a deal, so therefore it won't reach to the point where there's no deal. Um, Nigel Farage yet coined the phrase the no deal is better than a bad deal. Okay? If they reject a no deal Brexit, then they would get a vote on Tuesday on whether to request a delay to Brexit from the EU. Will that be the final vote before Brexit? Not necessarily, it is said. If Mrs. May loses a vote on Tuesday by a narrow margin, she could ask the EU for a short technical delay to allow everyone to regroup and make one last push to get it over the line. Mrs. May could make the final push at the next EU summit on 22nd of March with another Commons vote to allow and to follow, assuming she can get a deal to Brexit. So the question that I put to persons out there, and you can come back on the replay or upon the replay, as Rihanna would say, come back upon the replay, is to is to is to is to what is to share what your thoughts are on Brexit. Is it something which excites you? Is it something which turns you off? It's something that turns you on. Is it something that just you just fed up of the whole thing and just want to get rid of it? Do you know what it is about? Many people don't know what it's about. Many people sometimes ask for what really it is. Some people actually watch my show sometimes to get a sort of breakdown of what Brexit is. And there are tons of shows which I've done talking about Brexit, but just want to do a little update on this because for the past few weeks, one has been focusing a lot on the issues regarding knife crime and the issues with the youths. But I believe at the same time, it is so important to keep the focus on generally everything, all the fundamental issues. So that's what I just really want to say tonight, just to bring a sort of perspective as where we are. So as I said just before I came on, which has changed the whole game in a way. There's been a breaking news, and the breaking news is that the Prime Minister has secured a legally binding changes to a Brexit deal a day ahead of the MPs voting on it, which is tomorrow, and they say this should strengthen and improve. Of course, we watch a space right now at the College Green out there. One cannot get a space there because all the major news is happening because something which is possible, something which is in the periphery, and what many people are actually saying is that if the Prime Minister loses this deal, if she fails to get that deal through, her position as Prime Minister, everybody's saying, listen, maybe she's got to go. She's very adamant that she wants to stay for the period of time, and the bookies are actually saying there's a 1 to 8 chance. I believe if she loses, that she would stay on. And the question is, who could be the next leader? And it is put now between Michael Gove and possible Boris Johnson. There's Sajid Javid in the wings as well. And of course, these persons, if they become the leader of the Conservative Party by default, they then become the Prime Minister. And then as a result of that, the opposition, Labour Party and other parties will be saying, hey, you do not have the mandate. And that's why the Prime Minister went for the election the last time. Gordon Brown went for election when he took over from Tony Blair in between the period of time when they of the Labour government, and people put pressure and say you do not have the mandate, you need to have a general election. He had a general election and he lost. Theresa May inherited a great majority from David Cameron. They put pressure as well, so you do not have the mandate. There was election. She was successful, but she lost that sort of majority which she had, which she never had to go to election. So therefore, if the prime minister goes and another leader comes in, they can decide to just continue all the way to the constitution due next election, or they may actually call an election if there's pressure for them to get a mandate. Now, what does that do with Brexit? That's going all over the place now. If the Brexit deal, because they're going to say what's happening. Because if an election takes place and Corbyn comes in, people would be worried because they don't know where that's going to go. Right now, there's a sort of topsy turvy between what was in the Labour Party recent conference where they said that they want a people's vote, a referendum. That's what the membership says. But Corbyn is actually saying, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, that they're going to honor the results of the referendum. And honoring the results of the referendum means to say they want a Brexit. But what Corbyn wants is to not have a no deal on the table. All right? That's what it is. That's his position there. But there's that little tiff and turvy within the Labour Party is that. So, ladies and gentlemen, it is exciting days away. Stay tuned. I'll keep in the focus on Brexit. And I want to thank you so much for coming on tonight. And of course, let me hear your views, and you can share your views as I share this video again and put it on the replay. Ponder replay, as I say. And of course, remember to like and to subscribe to the SYLBOURNE Show. This video right now is on YouTube, which is SYLBOURNE TV, and it's on Facebook. I did not do the Instagram today, so it's on YouTube live, and it will be up on YouTube and also on Facebook as well. And follow me on Twitter as well, and on Instagram, SYLBOURNE TV as well. Sometimes you see some very exciting things on Instagram. It's like a different world. What can I say? But there's one thing which I've been sort of zeroing on. I'm going to be touching on the whole issue of the Commonwealth / the Windrush. The Commonwealth / the Windrush. I'm also wanting to pull together list of different no, let me leave that one for now. Yes, the Windrush. We'll talk about that. So thank you very much, and have a good night and all the best, and enjoy the rest of the week. It's going to be a lovely week no matter what it is, and we keep praying for the family of those who died in the recent plane crash. As I said, ladies and gentlemen, love your life, live it now, love your family, take care of them, because today you may be here and tomorrow you may not be here. Okay? And be inspired, motivated, and have an exciting life. Peace out. I'm SYLBOURNE, and I approve this message. Thank you. Bye-bye. On Facebook, on YouTube, have a smashing night, and all the best as well. Thank you. I never know how to stop this one on YouTube. It's always interesting. Well, for the YouTube one, what I'll do in the meantime, since I'm not able to stop it yet, I will play some music.